what is the difference between social media marketing and digital? 10 to 20% of my audience is going to see this post at any given time. How can we take the algorithm out of it? But having a place where you own your data, where you are able to be like, hey, if I sent this newsletter, I got their contacts, I got their email. If you have a text list, hey, I have their numbers. I can reach my people independently.
Bringing an artist's dreams to life takes a lot of different people, from their producer, their engineer, their manager, their A&R or the label. But one key person that often gets overlooked is the digital strategist, the person that designs the single or the EP rollout plan with all the creative ideas that need to take place in order for that EP to be a huge success. Tonight, I'm talking with All That Jazz, an amazing CEO, digital strategist, and marketer who works with her own company called Unearthly Studios. We break down the steps of building a campaign across all digital platforms. So social media, email marketing, text message marketing, influencers, press, and more. And the power of building a community is one of the things we spoke heavily about, investing your time and your money into those core superfans who will eventually become your customers of the future. And this is an insightful conversation. I was deeply grateful to speak with Jazz, and we're going to do so much good work together in the years to come. So sit tight and enjoy the conversation. You know, the phrase digital strategist gets thrown around a lot, and people confuse the difference between marketing, between branding, between artist development. But I feel like, Jazz, these are all skill sets that you have. Can you give me a quick definition, if you will? What is digital strategy in its simplest form to you?
Yeah, so crazy you brought that up first, because I recently did a whole masterclass for my agency on elevating your social media strategy. And I broke down, what is the difference between social media marketing and digital marketing? And I always say with social media, everything that we think of course, the TikToks, the Twitter, the IGs of the world, the social platforms that we're amplifying our craft and creative on. And then digital marketing, digital strategy incorporates a few more different elements. So that can be things like email, like newsletters. You can go into even things like affiliate can fall under that digital marketing strategy. Blogs, I always put in there because blogs are not dead, y'all. People love blogs. So those are kind of the different elements. It's I always say, how are you building this cohesive experience for your audience from start to finish? So SMS can fall into there. I'm a big text marketing girly. It's so impactful, especially for artists and creatives. And I found through a lot of discussion, not every artist is quite on the SMS just yet, but so many people, everyone is on their phone. So if there's something you want to do, or a merch drop, or going on tour, or hey, I'm releasing a project, SMS is one of those most direct ways to ensure, everyone looks at their text messages within hours, right? So digital marketing is including social media, but it's also what are those other elements to really foster a cohesive experience for your fan, for your consumer, or your customer. So that's how I define it. That's why I love digital marketing strategy, especially when we're thinking about social media. And, we talk about algorithms a lot. And if we know, okay, 10 to 20% of my audience is going to see this post at any given time, how can we take the algorithm out of it? It will also include your website. I always tell my clients, my artists, hey, your website is super important. We love the link in bios, the link trees. Those are great. But having a place where you own your data, where you are able to be like, hey, if I sent this newsletter, 200 or 500 people are on this list. I got their contacts. I got their email. If you have a text list, hey, I have their numbers. I can reach my people independently of an algorithm at play, So I love social media strategy and marketing. That's my bread and butter. But through the work that I do with my clients and my artists as well, it's how can we truly build this out so it's more all-encompassing?
You literally read my mind. That's exactly what I thought of. The open rate is just so important. Algorithms, like you said, 20% being generous, I would say like 5% to 10%. Email being like, I don't know, 25 to 35, maybe 40%. SMS is high. And I just think of it as putting your link in people's inboxes, whatever format that inbox may be. Like with social, you're hoping they click the link in your bio. With email and text, you're pretty much putting it there for them to have. I'm curious now, what is this one link that is in this one SMS? I'm going to click it. And I like the way that you talk about owning your fan data. I think not enough artists do it. I think people do a sub-premium experience with a link tree or a link in bio. But when you have a beautifully designed website and you control that customer experience, I think we're going to get into what creative strategy is. But like, talk to me about that premium element of like making your cohesive brand look and feel that they're in your universe, like they're in your world when you do something like technologically savvy like this. Talk on that for
Yeah. So I know coming from working with a lot of brands in my extensive career at this point, I've learned brand is truly everything. And brand is not something that's built overnight. It's built over time. And it's truly an experience that you bring your fans along with you into. So for artists, it's, hey, if you have a unique look and feel already, how can you bring that over to your website experience? Are there different elements? Is it certain color palettes that you use cohesively throughout your content on social? How can that interlace and move over to something like a website? Newsletters are so cool because you can customize those and brand them to your own branding as well. Really getting super creative with how that messaging looks and feels. I love newsletters. Love them. So many people should do more of them. But I'm always captivated by those who, you have a whole kind of thematic experience going on from start to finish. So I think brand is truly everything. And always related to like, why do we love certain brands that we're fans of? It goes beyond just a logo. It goes beyond, maybe the influencers that they work with or the product. It's truly about the emotions that they evoke in you. So I always say I use Nike as an example all the time for brand because I would say Nike doesn't necessarily have the best shoes ever. They don't necessarily have the best, highest quality clothing. People are a fan of Nikes because of the stories that they tell and how they inspire us to just do it. We can do the impossible. And also why they sponsor some of the most elite athletes in the world is because of that factor. So Nike's great at storytelling. And I feel for artists and creatives especially is, being your truest, most authentic self and showing the fullest expression of yourself is your brand. And then it's like, how can I really craft and create a world that I can bring them into and that they want to be a part of? Totally. So especially for artists, it's, you can't just, comment some little emojis on social and think like that's enough. You really have to get to know your fans, your ideal fans. What do they like? What are they interested in? And how can they craft a world that, hey, I want to be a part of? Oh, I'm tapped in and locked in. I want to come back for more. And that can come a variety of different ways. Obviously, social is such a tool and a vehicle for that. But even there's some really great artists that I follow that have SMS channels and I get their messages. There's WhatsApp groups that people are really using to not only communicate with their fans, but allow fans to communicate with each other. So there's these different communities that you can build as part of your cohesive strategy that I feel, hey, this is so underrated, but if more artists really took time to really cultivate that true community with their brand and bring their fans into that experience, it is so valuable. So valuable.
This podcast wouldn't be possible without the good folks at DistroKid, so I want to give them a huge amount of thanks and tell you about the DistroKid app, which is the all-in-one store in your pocket, where you can upload your music, check on the performance of your active songs, take your earnings and cash them out from your wallet into your bank, check your daily streams, update your lyrics, your metadata, and so much more. And it's finally available on the Google Play App Store too, as well as the Apple App Store. So make sure you go ahead right now and download your DistroKid app if you process your music through DistroKid. If you're not, you're welcome to join the family, and I will give you a 7% discount off your first year. And that is distrokid.com/VIP/all about helping. I'm even repping my DistroKid hat tonight. That's how much I love the family over there.
Yeah.
I think for me, it's like you say, it's joining up all the dots. I think social media has made us lazy, where we think I'll just post this out into the ether. The fans will just do with it what they will. I love them to comment, but if they don't, I haven't got time to reply anyway. I love thinking more strategically, where it would be, go to my website, put in your phone number, and I'm going to text you a password. And this password is going to unlock some bonus content. I love thinking like, I've got a group chat, but there's only 100 spaces. You have to text me to get the link to the group chat. I love when a creative strategy, which is polarizing juxtaposed words, I guess, in a way, because you got your free thinking, I think I get confused if it's the right side of the brain, the left side of the brain, and you've got your logical brain. And I love when people like us build plans to marry them together. Can you speak to that a little bit, please? Like, how can you elevate an artist's thinking when you work on a campaign and make them think big and do something that's never been done before?
Yes. Yeah, that's a great question. I feel as marketers, as creative marketers especially, we tend to be the early adopters on different tools, technology. You know, we have a pulse on the social media landscape, the current trends. So for me, I always take a look at where they currently are. And something that I do is like, okay, where are you at? Where's the opportunity? And the magic happens in the spaces in the middle of how can we elevate. So for example, my artist, Pat Jr., he, even prior to me coming on to officially manage him, he was someone that I had an eye on as an artist and a creative who was doing brand and building that world like so well, especially from the emerging artist space. So he has a whole community page as well, the Goldfang Society, which serves as the catalyst for the community that he's cultivating. From there, he built out an entire Discord world with a bunch of different servers and different channels where he has people in there all day chatting with each other. They host, like, I know they've done like hosting events to watch like a movie or watch this event together. He previews exclusive music in the channel, so he's bringing his audiences from social into this one place where we all can connect. And then he has different servers for gaming, for music, for, you know, collaboration, since he has a community of not just fans who are consumers and listeners of his music, other producers, engineers, creatives. We're all in this world that he's continued to build out. So more is coming with the world building that we're doing with Pat, which will include different things like merch. And as I'm thinking moving forward to elevate into a space like SMS so that we can reach them directly on their phones as well. So as a creative strategist, I'm always thinking, where are you currently at? What are you already doing well? Where are the opportunities of how can we do more, do better? And then I go, okay, what else is new that we haven't tried out before that we should probably test? Especially within marketing, you know that you don't know what works until you throw a bunch of stuff in the air, try it out, and see how it resonates. So I feel very strongly about experimentation in the work that I do and just seeing what connects with the fans. And when you find things that are working, how can we lean in more?
That's a beautiful, perfect example. I think a lot of musicians, when they create some sort of hub for fans to talk to each other, they think, but how much will I have to do? And La Russell said this beautiful phrase on an event I was on. He said, you can't build community if you don't serve your community. And I think posting a link to a video, expecting them all to get gassed and watch it, unless you're, you know, I love what you said, Pat had different channels for gaming and sports and watching stuff together. That's how you create like unified experiences. Let's drop a music video and I'll watch it with you. I want to see your reactions to you watching my video while you watch a piece of content you've never seen. That's powerful. That's his super fans, and they're going to pay the way for his career in the future. I can guarantee that.
Yes, exactly. We were recently in the Discord a few weeks ago too, and he was previewing a snippet from his latest Real Talk freestyles. And there weren't too many of us in the channel, but something I told him is, act like 100 people are in here. Serve them super well, talk to them. Those intimate spaces really are breeding grounds for you to just connect deeper with those that are in the room. And people don't remember what you do. They remember how you made them feel. Yep. So if you can really cultivate those authentic relationships by just being there, asking them questions, getting their feedback. Oh, I want to show actually, let's do another demo, something you haven't heard before. And just to be able to be in the channel and in the space with him and to see those engagements and interactions in real time, I was like, this is the work that every artist creative needs to be doing, no matter what type of community they're building out. The great thing is with social, there are so many different community spaces where you can build on. There's some people that are strong on YouTube and they have their, subscriber community. We got Patreon. We have other different tools like groups that are out now where we have these spaces. You just got to figure out which one do you want to be on. And there is still more work to do to really cultivate and create that experience for them moving forward. Especially with Discord, I always say Discord is not something you can just set up and leave it. You really have to have, if you need moderators, have events planned for them. I know I'm going to do one with him where I'm going to be talking about music marketing for his community. So how can you really cultivate a one-to-one or one-to-many experience using your community? And there are some really great artists doing it well. Can't remember his name right now, but I follow him on social, and he has a Discord group that I joined for research purposes because, I'm a strategist. And he did a listening party for the Twilight series. He's a fan of Twilight. There's, especially around spooky season coming out, there's so many of us who love Twilight, especially as millennials. And he's like, let's just watch the movies together. So he's doing one by one. And right when I joined it, he had like 200 people in there watching New Moon with it. They were chatty. I'm sure everyone had their popcorn and snacks on their end. But those are the experiences that your fans will remember.
100. Well, playing devil's advocate, what would you say to an artist who's like, Jazz, I get it. I know it's important to be on all these channels, but it's just too overwhelming. Like, I'm struggling enough with just my Insta and my TikTok content. I can't add email on top. I can't add SMS on top. I can't add a Discord on top. Like, what would be your advice to, like, where do they start in broadening and copy pasting at first and then isolating one differently? How do they add a new channel to their repertoire?
Yeah, that's a great question. It's something that I'm working on myself, especially as I build my agency pages out and I have my personal brand. So it is a lot to balance and navigate. I always start with first is think of the tools and technology that are available at our disposal, like especially social media scheduling tools. That one first is where I always start with artists who especially are creating content and amplifying to their different active social platforms. Is start with a social media schedule tool. There's so many free ones that you can just get started on. You usually don't need the paid versions right away anyway for most of these, whether it's a Buffer or Hootsuite. I use later, Metricool. There's so many other tools you can use. Start there, especially because I still post via platforms on some of them just because, in platform there's different features. But for the most part, I do schedule out a lot of my creative. So I always start with a schedule tool. It will free up so much of your time. And then I say from that, it's not a post and ghost. It's more, hey, I know my content's going live during this time frame. I'm going to block off the next 15, 30 minutes on my calendar to go on my platforms and engage. Respond to comments, DMs. Maybe I haven't sent out this week and still making time for that. But use these tools because they do exist. I always say start there, especially when you're just repurposing content that's already created across just different mediums. From there, I always recommend the first thing first is your email list. And the good thing about email is, and I feel so many people get overwhelmed by it, is because they see the cadences that some of these brands can send us, whether it's daily emails, every other day. I always say, especially for artists and creatives, start at a cadence that feels good and that you can sustain. So if that's a bi-monthly newsletter that you do 6 times a year, do that. If you can do something that's monthly where you're offering like updates or here's a sneak peek of a track I'm working on or tour dates or merch drops, whatever you need to amplify. If you and your team can sustain a monthly cadence, do that. And we know there's more people who could do more emails than that, but I always say you have to start with doing what feels good and what you can sustain over a long term. So it's about consistency versus intensity is how I think about it.
I love that.
So if you're like, oh my goodness, I blasted, 4 emails out within this month, 1 a week, but you can't sustain that over a whole year, I would advise against that. I would say, hey, try a monthly newsletter update to your fans. That way you're still sending out an update recurrent enough where you can drive new follower growth in so that list and continue to build it. So you have your own CRM for your fans and that data. So it is challenging, and I never skirt away from that fact, but start small. You don't need to add all these channels at once. I always advise against that. So that's my biggest piece of advice. I've been doing that with my artists and my team. It's like, how can we add one thing at a time? But I always say your email list is gold.
Yeah.
It's gold. So there was one place I would start. Even before building out a community hub, it's like, get your email list together and start that. Because we know there are so many artists who, outside of socials, I'm like, how would you communicate with your fans, with your customers, with your consumers? We've seen the outages that have happened on social, on Facebook, WhatsApp, Instagram went down. The whole world goes up in flames. Every time Twitter's down or one of these platforms isn't working right. So having a place where, hey, this happens, I can still reach them. I still know who my core super fans are in a way to contact them.
Since we're talking about how to capture your fan data, I'm dying to tell you about HitmakerOS. It's the #1 tool that all my clients use to capture email addresses and phone numbers, give away freebies and goodies to all of their super fans. You can build a link in bio style website with links to multiple products, a link to a pre-save, a link to a brand new tour with all the different dates, or you can create your own data capture form. And in doing so, replace the link in your bio with a HitmakerOS link and start owning your fan data. If you want to try it out, you can use it for free or try the pro version using my link, which is symphonyoS.co/all about helping. There's a little bit of code in there. So instead of typing it out, take the link from the description below and you can sign up today. Huge love as always to Meg, Monique, and the family over at HitmakerOS. Mad love. Exactly that. Literally wouldn't have said a thing differently. How I do it for my clients is very similar. It's almost like in the whole campaign, what are the key drum beats? Well, we got some cool shit to say. And so that might be, I've got a music video coming soon. Here's a trailer. That might be, if you pre-save it, I'm going to give you a sneak peek. Do you want a sneak peek? And just at the beginning, planning out when are those special moments, then like writing it as if you're telling a bestie some great news. Though I don't like to have the artist say, my brand new song is available for pre-order, pre-save it now. Corny, cringe, people can see the inauthenticity. You speak from a place of excitement. Your fans are excited that you are excited. And they are most likely to engage with it and actually get hype for your next email to them because they feel like you're texting your favorite artist is sending you a personal message and they're personally asking you to watch something with them. Like I'd get gassed about that if that was Russ the rapper or Sam Tompkins or La Russell. I would be so gassed if they were texting me. And that's how I'd like artists to think about their interactions with their fans is a personal touch. Would you agree with that kind of vibe?
Yeah, I really would agree with that. More than ever, we are so savvy. We are on social all day. We're inundated with ads and sponsorships, and you can. And I come from a background in influencer marketing, so I was building out marketing campaigns for brands who are using celebrities and influencers to help amplify their brands, their product, their story, their vision, messaging, whatever that campaign would entail. And one of the things we always came back to, even as we were developing out those campaigns, is how can we keep this rooted in as much authenticity as possible? Of course, there's like talking points they have to address and hashtags they have to use for FTC, all these things. But within that, how can we give each creator that freedom to tell their story in the best way because they know their audience is the best. So that personalized touch is so impactful and so important. And I've seen how that goes really well and how that doesn't go very well, especially when that lack of authenticity is present. But the personalization is so huge and so key, which is why mediums like SMS work, are building a community space where they can get to know you as an artist with the music, but also who are you outside of it? And I always say to that, not like you have to show your whole world, your whole life. You don't have to have a camera on you as you're doing everything throughout your day. But now more than ever, especially with the rise of social and our accessibility to one another, we do want to feel like, oh, I know him beyond just listening to this track and hearing the lyrics. So I do feel like any ways that artists, creatives, and even entrepreneurs like ourselves can add that personalized touch to where our audiences are able to, oh, I know, Jazz, I know what she's talking about. She also likes this, she likes that. Anytime you can humanize that, it's so, so important. So I know something I work on within creative strategy is how can we, showcase the human outside of the music more, their lifestyle, their interests, their hobbies. Because music is one connection point, but if you're an artist that, oh, I'm really into sports, but I'm really into social activism and I love to travel, those are all different connection points. Because someone might listen to you for your music first, but then they find out, oh, he's a fan of this basketball team, so am I. Or, oh my goodness, they love to travel, or they're a foodie like me. It just brings other people into your world who may become a fan of yours or a supporter of yours for different reasons.
You and I, we share the same brain, honestly, because I've literally probably said that exact same sentence before. But I think, speaking of influencers, how do you make a big splash? Like, are there activations that you plan offline, things that the artists would have to do in the real world? Like, I had a campaign recently that I was on where the musician went busking in North London. And then the song was about body positivity. So she stripped down into her underwear and had other influencers from the crowd walk into the frame and also strip down. Picked up a bit of press, had a lot of buzz on social. Aside from that idea, like, how have you made a big splash for an artist and really brought the creativity in digital strategy to life? Like, what kind of guerrilla activations have you ever maybe done in the past?
Yeah, I love guerrilla marketing and I'm on a mission to bring it back. I will say this, there's so many more ideas that I want to do. I was working with an artist a few years ago where I always say, street teams, please bring them back. Street teams are phenomenal. So that's one of the things that I've been working on with artists now to, like, how can we cultivate, if you're in New York City and you have a strong base here, how can we activate those super fans in a more dynamic way? So putting together street teams is something that I'm very much a fan of for artists, especially when they're going on tour in these different cities. How can we activate maybe this pool of people who already have a ticket? And that's something like, hey, if you bought a ticket for X show, send me a DM, and getting them involved in the experience. I know for one artist, he had fans come together and we did flyering together for the concert. And then we're able to hang out with the artist before the show and fans were able to really get to connect with him more. So there's different ways where you can bring that online experience into real life. I'm a big fan of fan activations, and experiential events is something that my agency offers for this reason. Because 2025 moving forward, my goal is to do more of these experiences for my artists, clients, and other brands who, hey, how can we bring this in-person element to life? There's this one artist that I don't personally work with, but I know her manager and called The Artist. But she loves painting and craft. So for one of her shows, they planned this entire paint and sip night where they got fans together. They worked, they did painting. There was wine, another experience. But that is something your fans are going to remember. Like, what? My favorite artist was there. She loves this. I love this. Those are experiences that are so memorable. And from what I see, there's not a lot of artists really thinking about, outside of performing and live experiences and shows, which are all part of this, how can I still craft a unique experience? Something that we recently did for my client Geogenesis just released an incredible EP back in July, phenomenal, is we planned EP listening session at the Audio Mac Studios in New York City. So he's from New York. His core fan base is around that area. And shout out Audio Mac for their incredible space, but was able to craft a very unique listening experience for those core fan supporters. And it's one of those things where it can be a low cost, like low lift if you have the right resources and connections. But I couldn't be there. I was there in spirit. But all the footage I saw, everyone was having such a phenomenal time. Being able to listen to the music together, vibe to the project, ask the artist questions in real time. He had the people that worked with him on the project there, from engineers to other producers to the creatives who help bring the visuals to life. So it's just like, how can you build something unique that you can still drive people into? So I'm a fan of like in-person activations and guerrilla marketing styles. There's so much more you can do there for sure as the budget allows. But with some creativity, you can do so much, and it doesn't take a lot for people to feel special. So there's so many ideas I have for guerrilla marketing and ways that artists can really bring stuff to life. But been a part of some really cool stuff on the artist side. And then in my previous work, I did a lot of work with brand activations. I had Pandora Radio as a client for a few years where we put on Pandora Live events. I know we had the Jonas Brothers at one of them. We had a couple more artists that were like really big at the time. And it was the same thing. Pandora, obviously known for music. How can we craft these intimate experiences for these artist super fans? So that was my whole role, was helping to craft and bring these experiences to life, finding out and identifying who some of these super fans were. And then on the influencer side, how can we fly those influencers out for this crazy experience? They got to go to sound check with the artists, etc. So influencers can be a part of these activations and in a really cool way.
You know what? I think this is what I love about our job, is this moment when you plan some really dope shit. The artist is super gassed. The fans are super gassed. We're gassed. Everyone wins. But I think not enough musicians think big. Like back in the day, I did something similar. I don't know how well you know London, but there's a plaza called Leicester Square. And in Leicester Square, the OG radio station, the pop and the black music station, was in one corner of Leicester Square. So I got an artist to start busking directly outside Capital Radio and Kiss FM and Choice FM back in the day. And all the presenters started leaning out the window to video an activation happening directly outside. Picked up a lot of coverage. And another time I said, the fan who gets the most pre-orders of our song, we will take 4 fans on a date to Nando's. So again,
I miss Nando's.
Yeah, so fans are like getting their friends and family, can you buy this for 99p and send me the screenshot? And they were tweeting the screenshots, how many pre-orders they got. Artist wins. Fans get a money can't buy experience that cost us £100 to pay for 5 people to have lunch. But the value that you get out of it by just thinking with a higher level, I think not enough artists have it or are willing to do it. Would you agree, or am I missing the mark?
I would definitely agree. I would agree. And a lot of people think budget is the constraint. And I'm like coming from, because I went to school for film. So I used to do a lot of film production stuff. I used to do $0 film challenges. We got to make this movie in 48 hours with our resources and who we know. Like, it's so much fun because it taught me the value of you can do so much with very little. You might not need anything at all. You just have to think about how can I do this creatively. And like, I get for artists, so many of them are just focused on, hey, I'm just trying to get these visuals shot and amplify this on social. But not enough artists, especially emerging artists, if you're doing shows in your city, what can you do outside of the show? What's another experience that we can offer them? If you love basketball, can you host a pickup game in your city? Can you do, what are those other interests and hobbies that you have? If you're traveling to a new place because you're an artist that is traveling or touring, host different city meetups and maybe same thing, cater, some snacks, cater an experience for them. I would love to, I don't know, it's not just an idea. Can we go to an amusement park together? Can we do something fun? So there's just so many unique experiences that an artist can craft that, hey, it might cost a little bit of coins to invest in, a meal, or maybe like even just doing little care packages for your fans. Like there's so many different things. If it's like, hey, pulling people together in person might be a barrier for me at this time. What about those, who are those super fans of yours? Which is why I always tell artists, like, you got to get to know who your fans are. You should be able to name a few of your key supporters.
No doubt.
How many times throughout the year can we just send them a handwritten note, or take one of the cover arts that you release and sign it and send them some stickers, some pins, some other things? It doesn't cost too much.
Agreed.
But those fans remember it, and not many artists are doing it.
Facts. I believe it comes down to a scarcity mindset that they feel defeatist. If there's someone in their camp or in their family might say, oh, that's great, but it won't work. Or, oh, sounds like a waste of money. And these types of phrases, they convince artists that whatever ambitious thing they try is going to flop. And so I believe they stop trying anyway. And I think it takes a dreamer and a believer on your team to be like, no rules. Like, I'd rather invest the money in this stuff rather than a music video, a stylist, and a makeup team. Because those are things for ego. And if you strip ego away and you actually just give selflessly to the fans, it pays back tenfold,
Yes, that abundance growth mindset is so crucial. Especially, I always say, this is so challenging to create something out of nothing, to chase your dreams. It's not easy. But when you get really good at serving your people and just give, and then you ask, people are way more receptive to supporting you, whether it's buying a ticket to your next show, or, hey, you release some merch for your project. You're going to see people want to pour back into you. And coming from what I see, it's so much of, hey, stream this, hey, watch this, hey, buy my ticket. I'm like, what value are you giving to them? There is value in your music, and I'm not going to say there's not, but if every single time you come on social, it's with an ask to your audience and there's less of a give, there's going to be a disconnect, especially when it comes to cultivating those true super fans. You don't need everyone to love you or be a fan of you, but if you can get 500, 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 people who ride with you and support everything you do, you can build a sustainable career and business just from those few. You don't need to be the biggest pop star or the biggest superstar with millions of followers. I'll follow so many artists who are earning a sustainable living, and they don't have nearly that. But what they do have is their community and their fans, and they care about them. So I think that care and intention, we need more of that in this business. And it has to be like the we mindset, not just me,
I love that. It's the jab, 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 right hook. The give, give, and then ask. And I think if you don't have money as an artist, you have time. And I think willingness to put in that time and spend it with your fans is always going to eventually help you increase that money. Because the very person who's going to want to buy the T-shirt is the one who tells their best friend, yo, when Pat Jr. drops a song, he watches it with me and all the other super fans. They want closeness to you and access to you. They want bragging rights to say, like, Pat DMs me, Pat signed this for me, or whomever artist it may be. I think almost the clout and bragging rights to say, I'm part of this elite mini group of people that he rides with. And when you times that by 1,000, that's how you get the most successful artists in the world who are community first.
Yes. Yeah. And speaking of Pat, I would say before I managed him, I was already a big fan of Pat. So
me too.
I remember like he dropped his project last fall, and I just supported it on Audio Mac. I think it was $50 support, or testing Audio Mac a lot more last year, and I love it. So I supported him on there, and even without asking, he sent me a message, said thank you, and then he ended up sending me 2 signed mixtapes or the cassette tapes for his last mixtape. So I have a gold and a black one, and there's very few gold ones. So I'm one of the super fans of Pat that has the gold signed cassette, and I look at them all the time because it's like that's really what it's about. And even before he approached me for management, I was like, I was already so dialed in, and I was like, I just want to keep following everything you're doing because we've established that relationship as artist and fan first. So that's just one recent example. So I feel there's so many things that artists can do to just really take that time to get to know their fans, say thank you, like send a genuine message to your supporter to, oh, I always see her pop up or I see him comment on everything. Let me send him a voice note.
Yes.
Voice notes. I love voice notes. Not enough artists use them. They don't want to, but I'm like, because I send voice notes every week. People always say, Jazz, I was not expecting this. Thank you so much. It just brings this personalization into each interaction that you can have.
You and I, honestly, we are literally singing off the same song sheet. Okay, that's how we had most of our conversations on voice notes, right?
Yep.
And I think, what's the legacy you want to leave? I think I have my vision is to help every artist in the world who was once struggling like I was. For you, have you got like a mission and a purpose other than just making dope campaigns everywhere you go? Like, what's that legacy you want to leave?
Yeah, well, Unearthly Studios' mission statement is empowering artists and creatives to achieve their full potential. So I feel like that one sentence is the crux of what I aim to do in the mission. It's how can I really help amplify your artistry and your genius and your craft to enable you to achieve success in whatever it looks like for you. Because success looks different. We envision everything different for each other, and it's so unique to the artist. So something I do with all my clients is we start with the vision first. Like, I have to really understand, what is your vision for success? What does this look like? What does this feel like? Not every artist wants to tour. Some really don't want to do touring at all. Others really want to be involved in their communities. Others, of course, want to make a sustainable living, but some of them have passions to launch their own companies in the future or get involved in different avenues. So it's really understanding, okay, what does this vision for success look like for you? And then really understanding, okay, here's where you're at. I know this is where you want to go. How can I help you connect the dots to eventually compound and transform your life over time? So that's really my biggest mission with the agency and with the work that we do. Work with brands as well, but building my agency was really catered to really support artists and creatives. Whether you're a producer, there's producers with a social presence now and selling products. Engineers have their own businesses that they're building around independently. But also there's this whole beautiful generation of creative entrepreneurs, much like ourselves, where it's how can I just help you achieve your full potential and whatever that looks like for you.
I think that's inspiring, that the journey of helping others reach their max potential, it helps you reach yours. And I just see you playing at a new level every time I observe, see you fully booked for a quarter. I'm like, yes, celebrating you. See you drop a new project. I'm celebrating you. See you make an announcement. I'm like, it's so dope just to see you rise and grow. And I can tell you're purpose led, and that's why you will win. You will absolutely win.
Yeah, the way I live my life, and something I've always said is I'm purpose led and I'm impact driven. I care about the impact that I am able to make and making a positive impact, especially within the music business. We see it all day, all the negative stuff that's happening and all the things that are coming to light. I'm like, how can I be a vessel for good? How can God use me to positively impact people in an inspiring way? And I get messages all the time, people saying that I really inspire them. And I'm like, yo, your wins are my wins. Y'all inspire me to go harder, because everyone has this potential, but for so many people, it's just unrecognized and maybe untapped. So if I can help pull that out of people and really help them connect the dots to get them to where they want to go, that really is the biggest mission for me wanting to launch my own agency. Because now it's like, okay, I really can craft this in a way that makes sense with my morals, with my values, with my vision. I've worked at a lot of agencies where it's someone else's, but it's so personal, this mission, but I also know that I'm meant to really impact so many people along this journey. So yeah, launching the agency is a catalyst for that. And 2025, there's only more amazing, exciting things to come. But I am so happy that I fought my fear and I did it anyway to bring this agency to life. because I'm looking back at the last year and I'm like, wow. So I've done so much. I still have a lot that I will do, but the foundation that we're building for is something that people are seeing, they're noting. More artists and clients are gravitating towards the work that we do. So just want to keep getting great results. Their wins are my wins.
Yo, nothing truer has been said. I love that. Purpose-led, impact-driven. I will borrow that if you don't mind.
Please do. Yes.
Where can people connect with Unearthly Studios? Like, feel free to plug your socials, the website. Like, give them where they can get in contact, please.
Yes, of course. Well, y'all can follow us on Unearthly socials. It's just at Unearthly Studios on all socials. You'll find us spread across them all. Our website, of course, www.unearthlystudios.com is where you can get more details about our services and offerings. And if anyone would like to follow me personally on social, it's at all that jazz XX_. So that's where y'all can find me. I am always amplifying some incredible programming, masterclass, webinars, etc. for the community. And yeah, I'm excited to see more people tap in.
You're the best. Oh, we're going to do so much together. I can feel the energy. We are aligned. We are going to host a lot of different collab projects. I can feel the universe will align on that. No, I appreciate this greatly. Thank you for being a wicked guest.
Yes, of course. Thank you for having me.